Again, I want to thank everybody for coming, and I'll reintroduce myself. My name is Clark. I'm from the Buda Rowe Group, and we're here today to discuss xPression upgrade challenges. The Buda Rowe Group is a team of xPression professionals. It includes former DocScience solution architects, document developers, xPresso document developers, xPression trainers, xPression engineers, and xPression administrators. Since 2007, we have provided specialized services including analysis, design, administration, and training professionals to fulfill xPression needs for our clients. We also offer many other services, and today we're going to be discussing our new services dealing with upgrades. Except for myself, I'm a former employee of EMC Document Sciences. I was a senior technical support engineer for 7 years while working there. I've had 2 years consulting with the Buda Rowe Group. When I started at EMC, they had just released version 2.0, and they started their certification process with version 2.5. And I've been certified on 2.5, 3.0, 3.1, all the way through 4.1. So I've got a lot of experience working with customers on the phone and helping to deal with upgrade issues as well as other technical issues that they may have run into. When upgrading, some of the challenges and pitfalls that I saw most customers running into can fall into 3 categories: document fidelity, loss of performance, and loss of functionality. Document fidelity, and for me this is probably the biggest problem that I've seen customers having to deal with, where they find when they do a major version upgrade that their output on the new version does not match the output on their old version. There's either extra blank pages, tables have shifted, there's a loss of fonts, there's just something about the look and feel of their output that is different than what it was in previous versions. I've worked with many customers to go through those document fidelity issues and working on correcting those issues. For loss of performance, I have dealt with customers that have had issues where batch was initially starting off running, nice and smooth, taking 10 minutes to process a few thousand records, and then after the upgrade, all of a sudden it takes an hour and a half. So the new performance on the new server, which was supposed to be faster and better, increased the amount of time. And so, obviously the customer was very unhappy with that. And we were able to sort through that. And I actually went on site with one customer, and we resolved a lot of performance-related issues and actually increased their performance to show that the new version actually was better. And we've also seen where customers have had a loss of functionality. Their client software, Design and xPresso, can't find the new servers or they don't connect properly. The xEditor, which is a tool for xRevise and xResponse and web services that's supposed to automatically update, that automatic update process doesn't work after the upgrade. And we've worked through many details in fixing those functionality issues. And many of those can be avoided if certain practices are followed. So what the Buda Rowe Group has done is we've put together a list of best practices for upgrades. We use or set up a isolated pre-upgrade test environment. This allows us to do a document comparison of pre and post-upgrade to ensure that the document outputs match, so that we don't run into these document fidelity issues after we upgraded production. We want to be able to identify some of those issues which may occur right away so that we can address those before the upgrade, so when the upgrade occurs, production is not down because all of a sudden documents don't meet legal requirements because their look and feel has changed. We want to make sure that that production downtime is completely minimized during the upgrade process. We also examine if the customer is going to do a patch upgrade, going from build X to build Y within the same version of xPression, or whether the customer is going from a to a new version of the software, going from 3.0 to 4.5, or 2.5 to 3.0. And we look at that to determine what's going to be the best steps to take to perform that upgrade. We also examine the operational requirements and third-party supportability. It's very important as xPression advances, they change which versions of Windows Explorer, Microsoft Word, Adobe InDesign, which versions of those are supported. Sometimes they add a newer version, and sometimes they drop off an older version. And it's important that before you upgrade, that the environment that you have can support the new version of the software. And that also includes archival systems like FileNet and Documentum, ensuring that those systems as well are on that you have a supportable platform. We also look at whether we want to do an actual upgrade, which is redeploying the ear files and applying a few text files, or if we want to do a complete reinstallation of the software. In some cases, a complete reinstallation helps to clean up and make the environment look neater, much more organized, and especially when I talk about databases later, a new database can help clean out a lot of old data that's no longer needed. We also ensure that the clients and servers are all in synchronization with one another. We want to make sure that your clients are at the same build as your server because that's the way xPression works best. When the clients and servers are out of synchronization, there's a good chance that somewhere down the line that a document or something is going to fail and it's going to take down your system until everything is up to where it needs to be. And of course, making backups, both of the xPression database and of the xPression server itself. The backups serve not only as a restore point in case of a catastrophic event, but also a point of being able to restore performance. All your performance tuning standards and settings are all contained in the properties file. We want to be able to maintain those, so by having a backup to refer to, we can adjust the new version of xPression to have the same tuning parameters that the previous version had. We also can apply the same security settings to the new version, so there's no time lost in trying to rebuild that security file, especially when somebody's using Active Directory or LDAP, which can sometimes be fun to recreate all that security stuff, but when you're in a hurry, it's nice to have just something you can copy and paste in place. As I mentioned before with the databases, we can either upgrade an existing database or we can create a new database and use xPression's migration function to basically turn out documents that are no longer needed, so that you're only migrating over only what you need. And this also cleans out old transactional stuff. I know some customers, especially ones that do transactional processing, for a while they were having huge amounts of storage dedicated to keeping all these old records from xResponse and xRevise that they weren't ever going to go back to. And this gives a way to clean those transactions out so that your database is leaner. And a leaner database performs faster, so your assembly time and everything else should actually show a certain amount of improvement by trimming it down. The Buda Rowe Group, we have a couple of different offerings with respect to upgrades. we can train your company's resources. We will walk you through step by step with our process in detail about how we recommend to do upgrades, things to look for. We go through all these different pitfalls in much greater detail and step you through the process so that you learn how to manage your own upgrades. Or we can perform the upgrade for you where we will manage and provide the service and go to town and get your systems upgraded. At this point, I'm going to open the floor for questions, and you're all muted, so what I want you to do with the questions is there's a question section, and it's really helpful if you type your question in that particular section so that we can keep things organized and avoid any feedback that we might get with the phone service. The first question I have is integration with Documentum. That's a very important thing for customers that do have Documentum because if you look at those operational requirements, it's specific to what versions of Documentum are supported, and that's one of the things that we really look at before even applying an upgrade is making sure that the receiving environment meets all the operational requirements, and not just from a software perspective. We can also look at it from a hardware perspective as well to make sure that you've got enough RAM, that you've got enough storage space, that your system is architected properly to support the new system that you're upgrading to. Another question is how long will a typical upgrade take? And much of how long it's going to take to do an upgrade is going to be dependent on, specifically on the type of upgrade that we're talking about. If it's just applying a build patch, going from build 20 to build 30 within a build, after the testing is done and, for the document fidelity check, with a standard development, test, and production environment, I would basically estimate it would take about 6 to 8 hours per environment to actually perform the actual upgrade steps. And this has some assumptions that all the necessary personnel are needed and on hand and available to perform steps as we get to them. The testing, depending on how many documents there are, that could take anywhere from 1 week to 2 weeks, but the testing is very important because we want to make sure that there aren't any issues with the upgrade. Does anybody else have any other questions? Thank you for attending, Kirk. Also, if you'd like more information about how to contact us about our services, if you note, we have our contact information at the bottom of the slide. Please take that and contact our offices, and we can discuss what we can do for you to help with your upgrades. Peter asked if document fidelity testing can be streamlined or automated. And the comparisons they can be done manually. They can be done. There is some automation that could be done. Though I find that typically, we have tools in order to be able to compare documents. There is a tool called Beyond Compare, and of course there's xTest if a company's licensed for it that we can use that can compare individual or groups of documents, with the original and the new one to see what those differences are. Generate a report and be able to view the report to identify those differences. And I got a question about xPression and upgrading xPression. Typically, I find with xPression, xPression is either a plugin to Microsoft Word or a plugin to Adobe InDesign. And I've typically found it much easier to uninstall and reinstall that particular component to perform an upgrade, whether it's going from build X to build Y or going from version 3 to version 4. One of the more important things to do with the versions is to reopen and resave existing documents in the new version of xPression so that each of those documents gains all the new benefits and details that are going to be needed to be processed by the server. And yes, Philip, we did record this session, so it will be available on our website at a later date. We have your contact information, so we can let you know when that's available. And also with xPression, we, again, with the operational requirements, we check to make sure that the new version that you're moving to is supported by the version of either InDesign or Word that you have. With the new upgrade systems that xPression has, work in progress can be carried forward. So it can either be carried forward or it can be dumped. That's all up to the upgrade process. I'm going to give another couple minutes for questions. As I said, the session has been recorded, so for those that did come in late, you will be able to see the beginning part of everything. Peter, you mentioned, let's see, from 4.1 to 4.5 patch 2, we found a major document fidelity issue, which was fixed in patch 8. I generally do prefer waiting. I'm sorry, let me read the question. The question that Peter has, I'm going to summarize it. Peter's asking about whether we recommend waiting to a later patch than going to one of the first couple of patches on a new release of xPression. They went from 4.1 to 4.5 patch 2 and found a major fidelity issue which was fixed in patch 8. And looking at that, I I would want to take that offline to address things individually, because again, that's something that fidelity testing would find, and then we could either try and find a way to, if it's possible, to fix it within the current build, or if we have to open a bug report with EMC to have them fix it, it's going to come out in a later patch. As in your case where they talk about a fix in patch 8, then you'd have to wait for the patch 8 fix, and so patch 3 or 4 would not have helped you because you'd still have the same issue. And Mike asked if, about upgrading from 3.x to 4.5, if it's best to do that in steps, going from, say, 3 to 4.1, 4.1 to 4.2, 4.2 to 5. And actually, EMC does provide the means to go directly from build 3 to build 4.5. The only caveat to that is with xPression products. It is always best to open xPression products step by step. So you'd want to go from version 3 to version 4 to version 4.1 to version 4.2, then version 4.5, just to be able to open each document and resave it. So I want to thank everybody for coming today. As I said, we have our contact information. If anybody wants to discuss further, we can set up an individual meeting with you and your staff. So I want to thank everybody for attending, and some of you I'll talk to tomorrow. So everybody, please have a pleasant afternoon or pleasant evening wherever you may be located. Thank you.